Imagine this, you're texting someone you really like. You hit send, stare at your phone, and wait. A minute passes, then 5, then 10. By now, your mind is writing full Shakespearean tragedies about why they haven't replied. Are they mad? Are they gone? Did they find someone else in the last 9 minutes? Here's the thing. That spiral you just felt doesn't start in adulthood. It has roots, deep ones, and most of them grow straight out of your childhood. Our earliest experiences with parents or caregivers quietly write the first draft of our love script. This script isn't about romance yet. It's about safety, trust, closeness, and independence. Later, when we enter relationships, that childhood script starts running the show. Sometimes it helps us love better. Other times it makes us chase people who aren't good for us or run away when things get too close. Today, we're diving into 7 childhood patterns that secretly shape your love style. Some are funny, some are heartbreaking, but all of them explain why you love the way you do. Let's start with the first. 1. Velcro parenting, the roots of clingy love. Picture middle school. You're about to walk into a school dance. Your mom doesn't just drop you off. She follows you in, signs up for the bake sale, and waves at your crush's parents like she's running for office. That's Velcro parenting. When parents stick so close that independence becomes a myth. First, it just feels embarrassing. But psychology says it wires your nervous system for anxious attachment. Translation: as an adult, you may become the lost puppy dater. Every unanswered text feels like abandonment. Silence means disaster. A late reply becomes a love letter to your worst insecurities. The irony? Velcro parents wanted to protect you from pain. Instead, they handed you a PhD in clinginess. As an adult, you crave closeness so much that even healthy space feels like rejection. You may love deeply but also panic deeply, and sometimes that panic is what pushes people away. But don't worry, we'll come back to how this can be rewired later. 2. Ghost dad syndrome. The avoidant love style. Now imagine the opposite. Instead of being smothered, you were left hanging. Maybe your dad wasn't around, or maybe he was there physically but emotionally checked out, always at work, distracted, or cold. That's ghost dad syndrome. Psychologists link this to avoidant attachment. You learn early. If love doesn't show up, don't expect it. So you stop reaching. As an adult, you might say things like, "I don't do labels," or "feelings are messy," while secretly yearning for closeness. You might flirt, then disappear. Get close, then pull back. It's not because you don't care. It's because your brain decided closeness equals danger. Love feels like a setup for disappointment. So you run before someone can run from you. And here's the paradox. Avoidants want love just as much as anyone else. They just have a nervous system that whispers, "Careful, this will hurt." 3. The parentified prodigy. Love as responsibility. Some kids don't get to be kids. Maybe your parents fought a lot, or one struggled with mental health, or money was always tight. Instead of being cared for, you became the caretaker. Cooking, cleaning, being the emotional therapist at age 10. That's the parentified child. Fast forward to adulthood. You equate love with responsibility. You're the one in relationships who manages everything. Bills, appointments, emotional crises. Psychologists call this compulsive caregiving. You feel safe only when you're needed. The problem? You attract projects, not partners. You fix everyone else but neglect yourself. Deep down, you may worry, if I'm not useful, why would anyone keep me around? It's noble, yes, but it's exhausting, and it often leaves your own emotional needs buried under everyone else's chaos. 4. The funhouse effect. Humor as armor. Some families never dealt with sadness or anger directly. Everything was a joke. If you cried, they laughed it off. If you shared a problem, they made a punchline. On the surface, a house full of laughter. Underneath, a child learning that emotions are dangerous. So you grow up and love like a comedian. You crack jokes during fights, send memes instead of apologies, hide pain behind LOL. Psychologists call this emotional deflection. It feels safe because laughter distracts from vulnerability. But the cost? Your partner may never get to know the real you. They fall in love with the performance but long to meet the person behind the curtain. And when you're always hiding, relationships can feel strangely hollow. Lots of laughs, not enough depth. 5. The emotional butler. People-pleasing love. Maybe you grew up in a tense household where your role was to keep the peace. You fetched snacks during arguments, stayed agreeable, made yourself invisible. You learned, if I don't rock the boat, maybe I won't drown. As an adult, this becomes the fawn response, saying yes to everything. Their music, their food, their schedule. You erase yourself to keep love. The trouble is, people-pleasing looks like devotion at first. But over time, it's draining. You lose touch with your own wants. And when you finally do speak up, partners feel blindsided. Wait, you never liked Marvel movies? But we've been binging them for years. Ironically, the butler's greatest wish is to be noticed. But because they hide themselves, partners often assume everything's fine. The result? Resentment builds, quietly, until it erupts. 6. The Cinderella script. Love as hard work. Some kids are raised as unpaid interns of their own households. They do the chores, take care of siblings, shoulder the load, while others coast. They grow up believing love equals sacrifice. Psychologists call this self-sacrificial caregiving. As adults, you give 90 in relationships and feel guilty if you're not doing more. When someone actually treats you well, you squirm. Why? Because love was never freely given in childhood, it had to be earned. So Cinderella adults often push away good partners and cling to the ones who need saving. They don't know how to rest in love, only how to work for it. But here's the twist. Being cared for feels unnatural only because it's unfamiliar, not because it's wrong. 7. The secure unicorn. Balanced love. And then there are the rare few who won the childhood lottery. Supportive parents, consistent love, room to fail, freedom to speak. They grow up secure. These people enter relationships with trust. They communicate openly. They can say, I need space, without it being a breakup. They can say, I need you, without panic. Secure unicorns aren't perfect. They still fight, still worry, still mess up. But their nervous systems don't see love as a haunted house full of traps. They see it as a partnership. The good news? This isn't a genetic privilege. Even if you didn't grow up secure, you can become secure. Through therapy, self-awareness, and healthy relationships, brains rewire. Childhood may set the stage, but it doesn't lock the script. Final reflection. So, what's your love script? Velcro? Ghost dad? Butler? Cinderella? Maybe a mix. The important thing is not to blame yourself for it. These patterns were survival strategies. Your brain was just trying to keep you safe. But survival isn't the same as living. And the beauty of adulthood is that you get to rewrite. You can learn to sit with silence without panic, to ask for love without shame, to laugh but also cry without fear. Childhood may explain your love style, but it doesn't have to define your future. The script isn't finished, and you, right now, are the author holding the pen.